Hey everybody, in today's lesson we're going to be talking about the Lydian mode and the Mixolydian mode. Before we get into that though, because we are talking about the Mixolydian mode in this session, I wanted to start off by discussing a little bit about my thoughts on blues playing. Of course, this is not designed to be a comprehensive or exhaustive recording of everything I have ever learned about blues playing, nor everything that is out there about blues playing, but just some pointers and some strategies that people have when they play through the blues, because as we get to the end of this lesson, you'll learn the Mixolydian scale pattern, and that is certainly something you're going to want to apply to your blues playing. But before we even begin here, the real art to blues playing is cycling through a lot of different styles in your trick bag. So the first thing that most people add into their blues playing and their blues soloing, if they're starting to get this down, is a good sense of feel through the pentatonic scale. For today's examples here, everything's just going to be an A to keep me on the 5th fret to make this visually about as easy to read as possible here. But on the off chance you have not worked on kind of the ground floor minor pentatonic, I think I reviewed it in another video, but you don't need to go to that. You should. You should like and subscribe as well. Support the channel. Leave a comment if you like the content. But beyond all of that here, let's just go over the basic minor pentatonic here. That's going to be index, pinky, 5/8, index, ring, 5/7, index, ring, index, ring, index, pinky, index, pinky. And in case you're wondering, I do have a little bit of bucket brigade delay on my tone today, as well as my primary overdrive pedal. Just felt like doing something a little bit different today. So that is our basic ground floor pentatonic. And we can even augment this kind of root position pentatonic and think of it like this. If my index here is at 5 on the root, A, and that would make this a minor pentatonic. If I bring my pinky to that root position, that root note, A again here, now I have the relative major. And I can use those two things fairly effectively to get a handle on my basic blues playing. Take one quick pass on that with each one of these examples here. Just going to kind of toggle between major and minor. Not the most exciting solo in the world here at this point. And sometimes I actually find myself getting tripped up playing these examples where I have to stop myself from going into other things. Because that is really truly the nature of guitar playing. But before you can get all of these things working in tandem using all of your different weapon sets like Mega Man, you've got to learn the fundamentals of each weapon here. So that major minor pentatonic, if you don't have that down yet, start off with that and get your reps in. Put on your backing track and feel your way just through that root pentatonic. Start off by feeling your way through the minor. Start off by feeling your way through the major. Toggle between the two. Put them together. You'll be off to the races. You'll be doing something here. Now, the next thing to do, once you got a handle on that, is putting a little bit of what I call stank onto the thirds in the scale. Now, the third, we are talking about the pentatonic scale here. We're kind of drop a few intervals here. So the third is, this is going to be a little paradoxical, actually the second note in your scale. So, A, C, where my pinky is right here, that is my third. And then here, the index finger on the G string is my third. So if you're really just kind of, I want to shorthand this. Where are my thirds if I'm moving around, Chris? It's going to be where your pinky is on the E strings. And then where your index finger is on the G string. And we're going to put just a little, what I call stank. That is, the technical explanation of this is we're going to be doing like not even a half step bend. Half of a half step bend. So if I'm at 5, here's fret 6. And really what I'm trying to do is end up at like fret 5.5. If I end up at 6, it's okay. But I just want just a little bit on it. See, I get some minor flair to it. That's so major. So if I put just a little bit of stank on that third, I'm already sounding good. And if I want to take this to the next level, I can move this when we go to the D. Just a little bit of stank on those thirds. You don't even have to play through the entire pentatonic, and actually it's better when you're going to the second and the third chord in the progression, or aka the 4 and the 5. I know, guys. When we're going to those next chords in the progression here, it's actually better the fewer notes I play. So just put a little bit of stank on your third is really all you need to do. Next trick here, another easy one to add into your bag that I feel is a bit of a dying playing box, so we ought to get it back into the vocabulary. It's what I call the old schooler. Sometimes I will watch old concert footage and stuff like that. I hope you're doing that as well here. And I'll watch old blues players too. And there was this scale that I was watching, maybe it was Albert King? I'm not trying to name drop here. I can't remember the guitarist in question. But I found myself really flummoxed one day when it just looked like we were just doing index and rings all over the place. Just lots of almost like the whole scale was just 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 7. What I realized is that they were putting whole step bends on all those ring fingers. So you get... And like you get these really great major phrases on those top two strings. And if you couple that with putting a little bit of stank on those thirds, so easy, and yet really, really melodic. I recommend doing the old schooler trick, especially on like your 5 chord. And then you mirror that phrase on the 4 chord, or reprise it if you want. And then you're back to your A. Or your 1 chord, whatever it is in whatever key. Next trick. Honestly, kind of like the Mode Master's default move here. And it's the mistake that a lot of them make doing blues. They try to just bring out the heavy artillery here. And you don't really need to. But it is peppering in Dorian and Mixolydian modes. Now, a little goes a long way. And I think especially if we've got like a blues in A that's got major flavor to it. Essentially, the way I kind of want to conceive it is over the one chord here, if my one chord is A, I'm going to use those major style phrases. So the old school trick. And then when we hit the next chord, the D, in this case the 4 chord, especially if you look at this 9 shape here, this Dorian scale basically just extends off of that 9 shape. So it's a very easy call to add on over your 4 chord here. Now over your 5, you can also drop that in. So move the whole thing up. So for a moment, you could think of it as playing in B Dorian, but especially when I'm playing like the Dorian mode over a 9th shape like this, I'm just visualizing the scale more living inside of this and seeing the blue greens that extend off of that chord. And a lot of times it sounds great if you just do that Dorian to Dorian. Then we got a couple more a couple more things to bring up here. One, playing through the chord using the arpeggio and arpeggio skeleton. So, doing the arpeggio is, but like avoid doing that in the same way that you might want to avoid doing do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti as your solo. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti. Okay, unless you're trying to do a dime store Brian May. That's probably not great phrasing, right? And the same thing goes with arpeggio. So how do I add color to that? Jump intervals. So much more interesting than me going. And even that's still more interesting than, like, yeah, duh, we get it. You're playing an arpeggio. But, like, if you do it that way, then you're just almost playing a chord again here. Another option here, in addition to playing through the arpeggios, is thinking about using some of these chords, using another arpeggio and pairing that over the thing. That's a little jazzy. Gonna have to know your theory here, but that's a great one. So like, let's say an easiest one to sort of work in here. We hit the D, or we hit, like, let's say our E7 chord. I might actually play a D arpeggio over that E, because you get this very interesting 9th flavor over the E chord because of that. And then last, and I'm certainly not going to do a comprehensive on this one here, we could do what I call jazz stuff. Now, easy jazz thing for you to add into your playing today. Simple. Let's just get a little bit of chromaticism going in this. And if you don't know the chromatic scale, buckle up, buddy. You're getting a free one today. So let's just do it here at the 5th fret. I am going to go index, middle, ring, pinky. Is it really 5, 6, 7, 8? Yeah, buddy. 5, 6, 7, 8. And then we're going to go 4, 5, 6, 7, 3, 4. So just keep going down a string and back a fret. And basically what we want to do is just find a way to get off. Where am I getting off on this? And you can keep resetting it too. It's a chromatic scale. Chromatic just means I'm literally going all the way up the scale. So lots of different ways to get home here. You can use that chromatic thing to open you up a little bit here and get some extra notes in. The last thing, of course, you could do, too, is you can do tritone substitutions, play supplemental chords to expand a voice. You can alter a chord up a half step. There's a bunch of different strategies here, but again, not intending to do a comprehensive breakdown on blues playing here today. But let me finish off by showing you the Mixolydian mode and the Lydian mode. Get those up on the screen here. So, Mixolydian mode is very easy to pull off, and I think that is among other reasons why it will quickly become a go-to mode for you. Because in the Mixolydian mode, I get to do 3 reds in a row. We get to get on the speed highway right out the chute. So if you know where your 5 chord is in any key, you can always jump off with this very, very fast pattern here of red, 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 blue, blue. Just adding, a fret on each time. First time for the color change, second time for the B string. The Lydian mode. We don't have a whole lesson structure on this for a reason. While the 4th degree has utility in progressive rock, for example, in bread and butter blues playing, you're not going to use it a lot. And odds are, if you are playing in a major progression, you probably are formulating this scale. You probably know what key you're in on the E string, which means like when you go to that second red in the red, blue, green sequence, that is the 4. So you're just doing the Lydian mode. So another way of thinking about this is the Lydian mode's just taking everything from the major scale and moving it down a string. It's not that like, oh, it's a bad note, get rid of it from the scale, send it into the commissioners or anything. I'm more observing that on the instrument of guitar, Lydian positioning is often pretty redundant, and you probably are better off knowing where you're at on either the Ionian position, the 1st position, or in the Mixolydian, the 5th position. So that is your Lydian mode and your Mixolydian mode here. And also a little introduction to blues playing here. I hope you guys have fun. If you like the video, again, please subscribe, leave a comment, make sure to practice against your accelerating metronome, and be on the lookout for the Patreon. I think my plan mentally is to get that up and launched here at the beginning of January so we can start doing some online stuff or some stuff over on the Patreon that I would not be able to get away with on YouTube because they have expanded Creative Commons to include literally any music I don't play with my hand. I've been copyright struck on backing tracks before. Hopefully that won't happen on this video, and hopefully you guys have an excellent day. Thanks for watching.